Well, that kicks it on over to me.
It does. I kicked you the ball.
Jordy D in 2003. What do you see between the knee?
You and me.
Between you and me. Could it be curiosity? I'm sorry, I'm rhyming
No,
again.
you're doing it.
And the reason I'm rhyming is because I've been bewitched by the fairies. Twiddly diddly, twiddly diddly, tweed, twiddly tweedly, twiddly tweedle, twiddly tweed, twiddly diddly dee. That's right, Roger. Dance. Dance until your feet fall off. You're in the fairy realm. It's a new year, and as such, I've been thinking about fairies. And I part of what led me to thinking about this was thinking about folk magic of the Isles, which I almost wanted to talk about, but I'm a sucker for a listicle. Maybe we'll talk about some folk magic coming up, because my mother every year at New Year's
sends you a curse.
Maybe that's what it is. No, she gives us a bundle. She gives us these little bundles that are like filled with spices, and I don't know what's in it, but she says you have to take this into your house the first time you walk in on the new year. And I had kind of a hex bag, Adam P. But I like a hex bag, more like. That got me kind of thinking about that. And then, of course, that got me thinking about fairies. When I think of the British Isles, I think of the wee folk. I think of the strange encounters that have been had in the cold nights.
I think the reason why you're on this show,
Statler on Avon,
why you're part of the radar, why you are called to operate it, is because when other people think of the homeland, they're like, the food that I used to eat, the smell of the air, and you're like, the fairies.
Oh, it's crawling with wicked devils it is, goblins, the like of which would steal your kneecaps as soon as trap you in a riddled contest.
And the radar seeks people out like that.
That is true. I remember when the radar pinged me that fateful night, and I woke up and I heard that buzzing sound and followed it through the rain to that trapdoor in the earth. And you were on the other side making Totino's pizza rolls. Come in, you said.
You can eat them anytime.
You've heard it too.
They're like bagel bites, but
exactly
better.
Yeah.
I throw down the gauntlet. Come at me.
Pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza for the rest of your life. You're sealed here in the radar now. You live here. Okay, so that brought me to Top 10 Curious Encounters with Fairies. That's right. It's another installment of Jordan Reads You a Listicle from Listverse. These are actually really interesting stories. This is that are kind of some of them are very historical, which is initially what made me want to read this to you guys, because I love it. I came across a great kind of historical ghost story thing, and then I lost it, and I was sad about that. So the fact that this goes back in time made me grateful, I guess, in the new year. Is what I'm saying.
2022 is going to be okay.
Number 10, Dangerous Curiosity. On a midsummer day around 1853, in County Donegal.
Listen, you think because you hear civilizations having historical records for thousands of years, you assume every culture has been keeping historical records, and then you find out your grandma was born without a birth certificate.
This is just how it used to be back in the day, was, meet me in County Donegal around 1853.
I'm going to be there from 1852 to 1854.
Yeah.
Reach me around
then. Yeah. Midsummer day in around 1853 in County Donegal, Ireland, a boy named Neil Colton was out behind his home with his brother and a female cousin gathering berries when the three of them heard music playing nearby. Stepping around some large rocks, the trio saw a group of 6 to 8 small people dancing in a circle a few hundred feet away. As soon as they spotted the dancers, a small woman dressed in red broke from that group and ran at the children, striking Colton's cousin across the face with what seemed to be a green rush. Whang! Holy shit! Came at the boy.
What's
Not
a green
surprisingly,
rush?
like a cattail, like a do you know what a cattail is?
Yeah, just like a
Reed?
common weapon, like a beating, bludgeoning, quick little weapon. Yeah.
No. Like I think like a cattail from a swamp.
Oh, I was thinking it was normal to carry around a multi-headed whip. I'm sorry.
You're thinking of
That
a
makes
cat o' nine tails.
that makes a lot more sense. I was thinking someone was carrying around like a a cat of three tails.
This horrible little asshole rolled for initiative. Struck him with the rush. Wham! Right in the face. Not surprisingly, the children ran for the house. As soon as they reached it, Colton's female cousin fell down dead.
What?
Yeah. Colton's father quickly fetched a priest who, reading psalms and striking the girl with his stole, I don't know what that is, managed to wake her from her death-like state. The priest said, stole? S-T-O-L-E. Put religious stole in.
Oh, his I know what they are. They're
his like Pope scarf.
The garbs. The
Pope
like
scarf.
the thank you. Yeah, a Pope scarf.
Pope scarf. It's like when you're a priest, it's a lot like Kung Fu or like Taekwondo, where they give you a different colored belt until you get to Pope, which is like the black belt. I assume. Although I also don't know what a vestige is. So he hit her with his Pope scarves and woke her from her death-like state. The priest said that had she not grabbed Colton's brother when she was attacked, she would have been taken by the fairies forever. So watch out for that. Number 9, Lords of the Dance.
Okay.
One day in August,
like
1862. Kind of. We're getting more precise here. August 1862. Set your timeometers to August 1862. Okay. David Evans and Evan Lewis. Boy, the name Evan was hot in 1862, I guess. Were on their way back from Brecon, Wales, with a load of timber and headed to New Quay. They stopped for a rest near a farm called Quimdwyr. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. As they watched the reapers working in the fields, Evan spotted a line of 50 or so figures going up the side of a hill, about 370 meters away. As Evans pointed out the group to Lewis, the first of the figures reached the top of the hill and started to dance. Soon all of the figures had reached the top and were dancing together in a large circle. As Evans and Lewis watched, the figures danced closer and closer to the center of their circle in a spiral pattern. As each figure reached the center of the circle, they disappeared into the ground. After all had vanished in this fashion, they reappeared the same one by one, crazy, and danced another round before vanishing back into the hill in the same manner. This time they did not reappear. Evans and Lewis told the first person that they ran into on the road, an old man, about what they had seen and asked if he knew who the dancers could have been. He had no idea himself, but did mention that his grandfather had once stated that fairies used to dance in the area.
What?
Yeah. Away they went, down into the hill, where I assume they live. Dancing, eating fairy cakes. taking their captives, come down, we've got a wee.
I would come down for a wee. You got me.
Oh, cool. I have a PS5 though. Whoa, are you serious?
Can
we come with you?
Yeah.
Number 8, The Mail Must Get Through. 1887, folklorist William Martin was taking his vacation on the Isle of Man. It's an island in the Irish Sea near Great Britain, between Great Britain and Ireland.
It's filled with men, if I understand the legend.
It's where men come from. When he met a mail cart driver who told him of an annoying experience that he had in summer 1884. One evening, the mail cart driver had set to his rounds to collect bags of mail from the surrounding areas to bring back to the collection center. After gathering the mail, the driver was on his way back and just 10 kilometers from the end of his trip when he encountered a troop of fairies dressed in red and carrying lanterns. They love to dress in red. The fairies stopped the cart's horse, threw the mailbags on the road, and started to dance around the bags. Oh, oh, we've got your bags. Oh, oh, what do you know? The mail cart driver, apparently a stubborn sort, proceeded to struggle to get the bags back on the cart. Oh, bugger off, you lot. Give me those bags. Come on then. As soon as he managed to place one on the cart, the men in red would toss it all out again. This kept on until daybreak, when the fairies left and the mail cart driver arrived at his destination hours late and irritated beyond belief. Boy,
the story that came, the cursing that this man did when he came into town.
Yeah. For my money, this guy needs to work on A, endings, and B, excuses for being late. Well, I'll tell you why I was late. I'm a bit of a hero, actually. Thanks for asking. I was fighting with fairies. There. In it. Number 7, pesky pixies. In a 1928 issue of the Transactions of the Devonshire Association, a letter written by Mrs. G. Herbert told of 2 odd incidents that she had experienced and felt were evidence of fairies. In 1897, when Herbert was 7 years old and out on an afternoon walk, she spied a little man, only about 45 centimeters, it's about 18 inches, tall, under an overhanging boulder in Dartmoor, England. He had a wizened face and was wearing a pointed hat that curved slightly forward, a doublet, and little short knicker thingies. Quote,
little short knicker thingies.
Sorry, little short knicker things. Suddenly, he vanished. Startled, the young girl ran home and told her mother what she had seen, only to have her mother laugh at her. Ha 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 ha, her mother said. Silence, you fool. 28 years later, 1925. 1925. A then 35-year-old Mrs. Herbert was riding a horse on the moors of Dartmoor one sunny day. She knew these moors like the back of her hand and was well traveled in the area when she inexplicably lost her way. She knew the landmarks and places around her, yet was utterly unable to decide which way to go. Realizing that she was likely being confused by pixies playing with her, Herbert took action, turning her pockets inside out as a powerful charm against fairy magic. This did the trick. Everything around her became familiar again, and she was able to ride home safely.
Isn't it a common thing where like doing stuff backwards will just like trick the fairy or like confuse them?
They don't get it.
I don't get it, to be honest. If you came at me with your pockets just out, I'd go like, what?
What is this? Are you crisscross? What's happening?
Can I have your autograph? Or...
I love your stuff. Number 6, a sad fate for a little man.
Oh.
It was a strange morning, to say the least, one day in May 1913. Young brothers Silby, Sid, and Clyde Latham were chopping cotton on their family's farm near Farmersville, Texas, when their dogs started to bark frantically at something. The boys went to investigate and found the 2 dogs barking furiously at a small man, only about 45 centimeters, 18 inches, again, tall, who was green all over and looked like he was wearing a green sombrero. His arms hung at his sides as if they were attached there, and the green appeared to be some sort of rubbery suit that covered his entire body.
Interesting. It's kind of, remember in Dragon Age that fairy that like other entity creature that becomes your party in the 3rd one, that joins your party in the 3rd one? His name's like Clive or something.
No, crazy.
Okay, well, there's a spirit that's kind of like described like this that joins your party. Like it wears like a very wide brimmed hat. It seems to be a fairy trait too, like this very like a hat. I've
Crazy.
heard this description before, and I played the games.
The green suit, the green rubbery suit is very crazy. Like what? Like he was dressed up as like Kick-Ass? That was about all the boys saw of the little man before the two dogs attacked and tore him to pieces.
Oh no.
Oh no. Spraying red blood and human-like organs all about. The boys retreated to their work, unsure what to think and a bit horrified. The dogs followed them and stayed near them for the rest of the day as if frightened. The brothers checked a couple of times to be sure that the body actually existed, which it did. But when they told their parents, they didn't believe the boy's story. By the next day, all evidence of the little man's existence and death was gone, as if he'd never been there.
Oh.
Number 5. Notes from the Fairy Investigation Society. Sometime around 1937, the Fairy Investigation Society of England, yes, there really was one, received a letter from a young woman who had experienced a very strange encounter while staying at an old house in Gloucester. The house had a garden that attached to the forest of birdlip beeches. Birdlip beeches. One day after she had washed her hair, the young woman walked to a nice sunny spot out of sight of her hair. Wait, one day after she had washed her hair.
Huh? Yep. You only wash your hair some days back in the past. Are you a Richie where you have enough water that's clean to wash your hair twice in a row?
So I guess she got to the house, and then the day after, she went to a dry, sunny area, nice sunny spot out of sight to let her hair dry and enjoy the scenery. Then she felt an odd tugging in her hair. Okay. She turned to look and discovered a man, only 23 centimeters tall, 9 inches, dreadfully ugly and wrinkled, tangled up in her hair. His skin was the color of dead leaves, and he complained in a high, squeaky voice that she had no right to be there as he struggled with her hair.
No, you have no right to be here. Get out of here.
But the moment he freed himself, he disappeared.
Weird.
Very weird, isn't it?
I mean, that's one of those stories to where like, that might have happened.
I mean, they all seem like just very strange encounters with a very strange being. Dimensional crossover. Or complete bullshit. You decide. Number 4. A hairy fairy. In 1948, Mr. E.J.A. Reynolds was just 10 years old when he was visiting Horsham, England during a school summer holiday. He went out one moonlit night to set rabbit traps and then waited nearby to see if he would catch anything. After a short while of waiting quietly, however, a 45 centimeter tall, how big is that, y'all?
2.5 millimeters. No, 2.5 centimeters.
Correct.
Damn it. Okay.
18-inch man covered in hair stepped out from a blackberry bush near the boy. Hey! This odd visitor didn't seem to know that the boy was there. So Reynolds got a good look at the strange man. His face was bare and leathery with a sharp nose. His arms seemed to be longer compared to his body than a human's would be. After a short time, the odd man stepped back into the bush. The couple, whom Reynolds was staying with, laughed at him. Ha 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 ha, they said. Right in his face, you fool, you moron, you simple young man. A few days later, Reynolds probably kept his mouth shut when he was riding on top of a double-decker bus through Horsham and spotted the hairy little man walking across a garden in town, this time in broad daylight.
Sounds real.
Mr. E.J.A. Reynolds was, he had the sight.
Right? He seems to be the chosen one.
Number 3, some people can see him. The Workman. Mary Treadgold, a children's book author of England, was riding on a bus on the Isle of Mull on April 30th, 1973. So we're in 1973 now. When the bus pulled off to the side of the road to let an oncoming car pass by, As Treadgold looked out across the peat to the side of the road, she noticed a young man with a shovel digging a hole near a patch of heather. He caught her eye for two reasons. First, he was posed with a foot on the shovel, ready to drive it into the ground, yet he wasn't moving, as if frozen in position to try to be less noticeable. Second, he was only around 45 centimeters. How many inches?
2.5 centimeters per inch.
18 inches tall.
Damn it. I was going to get it this time.
He was wearing blue overalls and a white shirt, which almost seemed to glow. With the sleeves rolled up, he also had tight, curly brown hair and a sack on the ground next to him. Treadgold stared at the young man for about 4 seconds, long enough to confirm that she was looking at an actual living being and not a statue of some sort. Then the bus started to roll away. She tried to turn back to look, but wasn't fast enough. Soon the spot was lost to view.
Wow.
Number 2.
Wow. Go on. Sorry.
An actual twinkly fairy. The May 1977 issue of Fate magazine, devoted to stories of odd events, printed a letter from Cynthia Montefiore describing 2 strange things that she saw at her mother's home in Somerset, England. One day, Montefiore was in the garden with her mother, who was showing her how to take cuttings from a rose tree. They were standing on opposite sides of a rose tree when her mother suddenly put a finger to her lips to indicate that they should be quiet. Then she pointed to one of the blooms. There, plain to see, was a 15 centimeter, that's 6 inches, tall woman.
I could have done the math.
With beautiful wings like those of a dragonfly.
Oh.
She was pale pink with long silvery hair and was pointing to a small wand with a glowing tip. Was pointing a small wand with a glowing tip at the center of a flower. What the fuck? The 2 women watched this little being for about 2 minutes as her wings beat like a hummingbird's while she continued to point her wand. Then she simply disappeared. Needless to say, both women forgot to finish the lesson on rose cuttings. Later, Montefiore was sitting under a tree in the same garden reading a book when she noticed something moving in front of her. She looked up to see what looked like a sturdily built figure in a one-piece brown suit run from the lawn to a young fir tree where it disappeared. A one-piece suit, almost like that one in the green suit.
Yeah.
The figure was only about 45 centimeters. How tall?
18 inches.
Yeah. 100
I didn't
points.
do the math. I just remembered.
Nice. Good job.
Thank you.
Montefiore jumped up to look at the fir tree, but could find nothing unusual or useful. And the number 1 curious encounter with fairies from Listverse. It's called A Night to Remember, starring Sandra Bullock. It was a summer evening in 2005 when a man identified only as JF claimed that he and his girlfriend were part of a group visiting a friend's house in Chicora, Pennsylvania. The house was in a thickly wooded area, and they had watched the sunset from the back deck of the house. They continued to chit and chat and hang out as the night grew darker and cooler, the deck lit by a single spotlight. Sounds magical.
Right.
Then they heard a noise in the potted plants near the spotlight. Everyone turned to look as something shot into the air from the pots. The creature was about 30 centimeters, you guessed it, 12 inches tall, about a foot. It appeared to have a human head with long pointy ears and something wrapped around its body. It paused for a moment in midair, just between the spotlight and the people. Then its wings opened, unwrapping from around the apparently female being's body. Crazy. The wings were bat-like in that they appeared to be a membrane stretching from her fingers to her toes. The veins could be seen where the spotlight was shining through. But in overall shape, the wings resembled that of a butterfly. What? The whole little being seemed to lightly glow with a greenish light. Crazy. After hanging in space for a moment more, the little being fluttered across the deck like a butterfly over the heads of the group and off into the woods. The only word that the group could agree to call the creature was, not surprisingly, fairy. There you have it. 10 curious encounters with fairies through time. This has been Jordan Reads You a List. We hope wherever you are, Nate, you enjoyed this episode of Werewolf Radar, because now it's over. We've done it. Again, you've done it. Roger's frozen in time.
No, I'm still here. Sorry.
Roger is completely frozen.
No, I'm still
He's
here.
been taken by the fairies.
I'm looking
Turn your
at VR
pockets
porn.
inside out. You're looking at VR porn. I understand. It's the future, you know. Microsoft is coming for video of your wiener. That's what they want.
But bravo. I like how all them, like anything, I guess colloquially, that's little with wings, throw it in the fairy pile.
Throw it in the fairy pile. Throw it in the fairy pile and then burn them as a cheap, affordable source of fuel. I'm kidding. Be nice to your local fairies. I think it's very interesting how the fairy folk always seem to have, they seem to be very localized, you know. It's a patch of woods, a particular garden where like maybe you know, maybe the bond between humanity and the natural world is particularly strong, or those border areas. The fairies are quite often said to exist in the borders between things. So maybe it's, you know, a backyard, particularly because of that leads into the forest.
I'm wondering if like
that also means like what were you gonna say?
I was wondering if like my neighbors and shit got a really really nice garden, like plants overtaking part of the building. Can you just manifest an area to where the fairy would come in? Like,
I mean, yeah, that sounds like a great. That literally sounds like a great spot. You know, it is a border itself. It is partially in our world and partially in the natural world. I would say go there at midnight, the border between time zones on January or let's say January 31st at midnight, or maybe the equinox. If you want to, or noon as well, you know, borders when look for those areas. That's where you can find the fairy folk.
My neighbor's gonna see a lot of me then,
but don't
especially at night.
Don't get taken by them, and if they do, turn your pockets inside out and don't eat anything.
Okay.
They'll try to give you all your favorite cakes and treats.
Angel fruit
you can't
cake?
have them. Yeah, y'all, that's it for this episode of Werewolf Radar. Watch out for fairies. And watch out for
the skis.
Keep watching the skis, as it were. Nate, we hope you're fine wherever you are out there in the particle verse. We'll see you in VR, buddy. Please give us a 5-star review wherever you can 5-star review us, and check out our Patreon, and shout out to Chuck from Snappy Little Numbers for our intro and outro song, and shout out to you, the Dark Council members, and shout out to Adam P for kicking it in the Zoom room. And that does it for this episode. On the count of 3, our sign-off line. 1, 2, 3. Punch the sky, Spaceman Joe.